Good morning, Sandhya.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. We'll just commence the proceedings. Om Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Srimadananda Tirtha Bhagavat Padacharyobhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibuddha Sura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Mati Prabodhan Vadan Rasya Kritavan Puvidatva Vadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakantam Ananda Tirtha Munivaram Namami Pujyaya Rahavendraya Satya Dharmarataya Cha Pajatam Kalpavrakshaya Namatam Kamadhenve Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi Tejasvinavadidamastu ma Vishvidavahaihi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome friends once again to our Kathopanishad journey, and we are in the last lap of the second Valli, where we have so far come across seeing the difference between the soul and the body, as well as the how to deal with the world, considering that both soul and body are different, and we how to understand that because that is a very ticklish concept, because the soul we can't see, we can't sort of understand with any other means, but this is what the scriptures have said. Not only all the religions have tried to bring about this concept of a soul, as well as the primordial power, which is the ultimate power, which has created, which is guiding, and which is also the cause and effect, for the entire thing that is taking place in the world. One of the things, why we are calling it religion, because little we will have to go little into the etymology of the word religion. It's religion is, if you see a context in which the word has been taken into English and originally from Latin and all, it is basically a religion. It's a legend, which is already you are being, guided. You are a part of the fountain. You are part of the whole system. You are a spoke in the wheel, but the spoke can't understand the wheel. But we are part of the wheel itself, because when the journey is taking place and all. But the religion is being taken as one which is reconnecting yourself to the source. When you are a spoke, you can't be without a wheel. A spoke can't be there. But we don't understand what is the wheel. We are only spoke. We just don't know what it is. It is like that. Our situation is like that. It is only by inferences, by our own experiences, by our own, the way, we are able to look into ourselves by our own internal journey. That is by focusing ourselves onto ourselves as to who you are. Once you understand, because the very simple meaning that has been given to bring this concept of the entire, the ultimate power, and how you are able to relate yourself, with that power. It is what Swami Vivekananda has taken it to the West, to explain the Indian philosophy in the Western context. When he said, when you are, when who are you and how do you understand, you are existing. Because we are all existing at the moment. That's why, we are discussing, we are having the session, we are also having, doing everything, and because we have got a lot of things to do, as well as, we have got, our own group, we have got our own families, as well, we are trying to see the other, other part of the society also, not only this, other part of the world also. Likewise, everything we are considering, because we are all confined by our limitations, and we know we are existing. The awareness that we are existing itself is a proof there is some other power. Because when you are because who are you? When I say I am so and so, I'm son of so and so and all, what is that? That has been, because told to me, and I have also felt, and I have been treated like that by others, and I have also been treating others like that. That is how, I understand that I am existing. The very existence, is the reason to understand, that the proof to understand there is a primordial power. That's what normally it is being said, but it's too difficult to take it, because after all, everything, the animals are existing, even the plants are existing and all. They don't have any reason, or they don't have any means to understand, they are existing and all. They simply be existing, they are doing the job, because they are gifted in a way. When a plant is there, it is not looking into whether it is existing or whether it is going to survive and all. As long as it is there, it goes on giving its fruits or flowers, whatever it is ordained to give. So it gives its purpose, and then because when the time is there, when the plant goes off, it goes off. It doesn't have any regrets whatsoever and all. But for us, because we have come with the purpose and we have created, our own existence is not only, because our existence is based on in relationship to with so many other things. When you are a being, you are being, you have got a relationship, in your family as to, you are a son, you are a father, you are a sort of husband to your wife, or a wife is wife to some person, like this, all this relation takes place. So what happens is all our entire determinants are based on what we think about our role to be played in this world. Once you are taking your role seriously and when you are trying to understand that, what happens, you are forgetting your existence. You are forgetting your existence in the sense you are not able to see exactly what is the purpose, how you have to go about it, because you take your role very seriously depending upon the problem that is going to be that may be arising. Because if you are a father, because there could be, it's not always the smooth sailing. There could be thorns in the way. It's not always a bed of roses. Sometimes there could be differences. There could be reconciliation. There could be because a generation gap is there, your view will be different, their attitude will be different. This all goes on. So is, because the husband and wife. So is between the parents and the son. So is between the brothers and sisters. And all these things take place. When these things takes place and all, very often if you find, most of your problems is based on how this relationship create the sort of a tension and the confusion in the mind. Most often it is confounded. You are trying to come out of that. So in that process also, it is one part of it. You've got other things also. You've got certain interests to pursue. You are in a profession, or you've got something else to do, because you are pursuing your passion and all. It all comes in the way. If you are taking all these things seriously, if you take your profession seriously, you will not be able to give the time to your relationships. If you are taking your role in the relationship seriously, you will not be able to do justice to your profession or your pursuit, what you have taken up. This is a conflict. This is a continuous conflict. This is only to the entire, the adhyatma, whatever, the spirituality, what we are trying to bring about is just how to hold ourselves in such a turbulent situation where you are being weaned away, by so many pressures in terms of your relationship, in terms of your role you are playing in this world, as well as, you've got certain things, for your own satisfaction you have to do. Passion, when you are in a profession or when you are pursuing a passion, it is your innate nature. You want to excel in that. You do not want to give it up. Just for, the relationship is not working, you don't want to give it up. You also want to do it. It is having the cake and eating it too also. That's what it happens. In all our situations are like that. In order to bring ourselves, understand ourselves, how we can, without getting affected, how we can float across the entire, the sea of all these, the waves that is taking place here and there, hither and thither. This is what exactly this Upanishad tries to bring us, to that one. Because this is what, the Vivekananda, when he said, when you have to understand, if you only know who you are, then most of the problem is solved. In fact, there is one famous psychiatrist called Carl Jung. He is supposed to be the he was associated with Sigmund Freud. Afterwards, he dissociated with him, because they had a various difference of thoughts. Of course, they have got a mutual respect for each other. When Carl Jung was interviewed by BBC way back in 50s, they asked him, he's like a rationalist. A rationalist in the sense, sometimes you give the name of atheist. The atheist in the sense who doesn't believe in God. So if you don't believe in God, what if? It is only for you to believe or not believe. God is not going to be bothered. Whether you believe it or not, he is going to carry on, you will have to carry on. But then certain things which you want to explain rationally as to how a human being is capable of reacting in this world or acting in this world and what of everything, because once you believe that you have got the capability, you believe that you have got all the capabilities ingrained in you. That is what, the rationalist is called. The rationalism is that's the highest evolution of the spirituality only. But it doesn't have to be, whether you believe in God or not. But very often it is given a color, is a atheist or something. When Carl Jung was asked the question, do you believe in God? He said, I can't say I believe in God, but I know God, he said. How is that? You don't believe in God, but you know Him and all. Because so many things, so many times when reason fails, so many things happens. So then you learn to believe some power. You have given the name of God. So you can give any name, because like, Khuda, you can call it, if you want to call it, in the terms. Otherwise, Holy Father, you can say, it's an Abrahamic religion, how they call it, because they have got a different names to it. Well, you can call anything at all. It is like that. So even then, because even the greatest of the atheists who have, tried to explain, they finally have come to this conclusion there is some power, because though they don't want to call it, it's omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, they want to call it some power. To that extent, they have come. But only thing is, in our inward journey, because of the philosophy has brought us, a lot of focus into us. We want to call it God. We want to give a name, and we want to go by that. So when you call it a God, it is the creation, or it is the understanding of the evolved human mind. So when it is the God, then why don't you try to go by that, to understand that only the power, which we can't see, which we can't perceive. When we have given a name, we are trying to understand by various means. In that process, we are elevating ourselves, in the sense we are able to give the luggages. The luggages are our, the confusion and in our relationship, the problems in our relationship, the problems in pursuing our own passion, our profession, everything which come together. Slowly you will be able to get the clarity, you will be able to deal with it as it is. You will not be, one will not be bothering the other. Even in a professional situation, that every day will not be different. Every day you will have a different problem. We have seen in the organization, once you get up in the morning, so it's because when you are in the senior position in the organization, because the one thing that jokingly you said, when you get up in the morning, look, I didn't get any phone call nor wire message. Because something will come, you will have to work on that. So when something is in there, when no news is good news, like that, no problem on the day, beginning of the day is a good news. Likewise, it used to go on. So this is where, finally we are finding, these are all happening, when you are active life. When you are coming out of the active life also, you don't know what to do, what am I to do, because you will be going into so many things, because there is a lot of things, to pursue. There are meditation, there are hundreds of meditation, there are spiritual sort of a thing, courses are there, spiritual pursuits are there, so many religions, so many things and all. Everything they want to give you, something to you and all, because you cannot be taking everything and all. But then you go where you are able to find yourself in consonance with what you are feeling. That feeling will come when you, the proof of spirituality, when you are able to identify yourself in a particular pursuit, is slowly your questions disappear. Slowly your doubts disappear. When you don't have any more doubts, when you don't have any more questions, that is the point your spirituality is trying to begin and is trying to flower into its own, because then you are able to look into yourself, because every solution is within you. Within you to change the attitude, within you to change the thinking, within you to change the way you are dealing with. So you will not be taking everything seriously in the sense, because if you take anything seriously, it will be at the cost of something else. If you are taking as it comes, you are dealing with it, and because every moment with the mindfulness and giving your best every time and all, then that is in fact the spirituality. When you are able to give the best in every moment of your life, that is the spirituality. That will not happen just like that, because all of us are human beings. We do have relationship, we do have issues, we do have ambitions, we do have some sort of a, what has not happened, unfulfilled desires, everything comes together. So in this context only, because we talked last two mantras, just I will briefly tell, we will go for that. Anu, Raniyan, Mahito, Mahiyan, Mahato, Mahiyan, in the sense, because we said, subtle of the subtlest, the power, whoever you may be calling it, or it is the biggest of the biggest, it is the gargantuan proportions. You will not be able to imagine and grasp by your own thoughts. It is something like Atmasya Chantan Nihito Guhayam. In spite of that, that power is residing in everyone and giving the power to act, power to do your best. That is the power. When you are able to do your best, you are realizing the divinity, your own power. When you are doing something best, you are just leaving everything aside. All your, because problems, everything and all, whatever was bothering, you are leaving it. It is like in a deep sleep. Deep sleep, are you bothered about anything? You are not bothered, because you are just forgetting, and only when you get up in the morning, you get Sushupta Sthana. So this is exactly, because the one which is trying to have, you have the same thing when you are dealing with this world. Always, because every moment, will be giving a challenge to you. How you are going to be acting on the challenges or reacting, reducing your reaction. When you are acting, you will not have a problem. More you are reacting, your entire, the confusion will confound. So instead of reacting to your thing, reaction happens mainly because we do our own angularities in our mind. We determine this has to be done in a particular way only. This has to be done this way only. Without this, I can't do it. When you take out that, you don't have any problem. See, because every moment it is challenge. If you possibly consciously, if you look into, I will give you a few examples. We will find out how it happens and all. So I may be used to getting some particular way of getting a particular coffee only, because somehow I go to my friend's place or some another restaurant, by some guest house or something like that, where they may be giving something different. But anyway, initially I may get to the reaction, look, it's not the same I wanted. But then, because that's only momentary. Then afterwards, you take something and forget it, because you have to take something, you take it, something you have to take it. You don't attach too much, it has to be this, it has to be that. And all. These are all, we have become the sort of a prisoner of our own habits, our own sort of angularities. Once you slowly take out the small angularities, that is the development. You will be able to get across to. This is what Anor Aniyan Mahito Mahiyan, because whatever is you are having, the same other person is also having it. But whenever it happens, the way you think it has to happen need not necessarily be the right way. I am used to that. That's why I consider it is the right way and all. But if I can accept everything and all, this is what it happens. Because basically, finally we will come to, after the end of this second mantra, we will come to a concept how this can be exemplified in the modern day life. Atma asya jantor nihito guhayam tam akratu pashyati vita shokaha. Tam akratu, we explain akratu is, when you are not, purposely doing something and all. When you are doing, as whatever comes in the way, you are doing it, no problem. But if you are doing, no, I should not do it, I will do this, because this is how I have planned, 10 days ahead. Even at the cost of something which is urgent, and if you are trying to do what you have thought 10 days before, this will suffer. That is one meaning of that. Another meaning of A is the Akshara, is the Brahman, the great, because whether you call it Vishnu, the Vishnu is supposed to be represented by that Akratu, in the sense when you are having so much, the love and devotion, everything was totally surrendered to that power. Once you have that devotion, that bhakti comes. Bhakti comes, because bhaktas, we use it in a pejorative terms. If someone is being glorified, we call it bhakta. The bhakta is basically a generating, your own sort of a strength, your own ability you are giving, your own, you are trying to give a devotion to your own ability, to your own focus and concentration. That you give in the form of, whatever, whether you call it Vishnu or Brahman or Jesus or the Holy Father, Khuda, everything and all, it happens. That is how whatever happens, and we say, we are able to get that, the grace. The grace comes, because when you are able to focus, what happens is, you will not be bothered by all other unwanted thoughts. See, even when you are trying to think about, because a few minutes meditation, even 5 minutes or even half an hour or 1 hour, when you are able to do, all other thoughts are being weaned away. You are able to focus only on your breath. And very often, it's not that always you will be devoid of thought. Thoughts will be bombarding you. But again, every time you will have to bring it, like a cow, which has been tied to a pole, it will have to go around the circumference only. It will have to come back again to that. We are like that. No mind will be immediately, you will be thoughtless and all. Thoughts will be coming. Even when you think you are a thoughtless state, thoughts will be coming. It is for you to discard the thoughts. Because it's of no sort of importance to me. I will have to focus on what I am doing. That's what. Tam akratu is, because when you are so much of a devotee, the great power, Vishnu, or the power, it may be. When you see Pashyati Vita Shokaha, once you are able to totally devote, surrender. When Krishna in the final Adhyaya, he says, you leave everything and surrender to me. It's not that, you want everyone to give. He says, you try to have the faith in your own ability to surrender, in the sense to surrender to what you are doing right at the moment. Surrender to give up your best. Once you have that, Vita Shokaha, you will not have any sort of a sorrow. Sorrow in the sense, it will be only a sort of happiness all through. You'll be enjoying whatever you are doing. When you are able to enjoy whatever you are doing, And because you are able to give your full potential into that without, because when you are doing something which is passionate, you are not expecting any rewards. It's not transactional. You do it for the just the fragrance of it. When you get the soul gets the fragrance. When you become so evolved, when you talk to a person, the fragrance of the soul will be felt by the other person. But if I'm always confused and I am thinking about all other confused thoughts, I'm always thinking about how to ward off or how to sort of play my cards, how to play the games. If I think my soul will be stinking, that it will not be fragrance. The other person will be able to feel it. This is exactly, to me, my own fragrance should be good enough for me to enjoy. See, that is basically when we go to the Adhyatma, to just to enhance our fragrance. Enhance so that, for others, they should automatically feel. I'm not bothered about it, but I have to feel my own fragrance. That's why, because once you have the fragrance, because how like honeybee, honeybee is being quoted in scriptures, in the all over, because scriptures enormously and all. Bee, what it does, it builds the beehive. And how it gets attracted, it attracted by the fragrance of the flower. Wherever the fragrance is there, it is going there. And it gets the honey there, and it is building the honey. The entire, the honeycomb that's being built is not for itself. It's going to be taken by someone else, but it enjoys doing it. The world is like that, you can't see, you can't claim, to your son, look, I struggled so much and I educated you and all. Well, that's part of the job. You got everything together. You also got the benefit. That's why one son asked him, how you have become a father? I have become father, because I, like anyone else, I have become a father. Because without me, you could not have been a father. Because I am son, you are a father. And why do you think I am your father? Why are you declaring it? Because the reason for you to be a father is me. See, likewise, because once it questions, that question goes off. You will not be able to claim, any great, that I have done this. What is that? You have done like a honeybee is. I got to the fragrance of the flower, because you happen to be the father and you have done it. And your father has done it to you. Have you ever father told you, because I have done it? Likewise, it's a chain. Once you see, because not that I have done anything great, and I have done my thing, whatever I have done, that's what I was ordained to do. I have done my duty, then there is no problem. Once you think I have done this to your sister or brother, you think I have done this and all, you have done it because they happen to be your sister, you happen to be their brother. Nothing great about it. And they might have also done something and they also don't have to be. Because now what happens in the relationship, these things are being discussed in detail, which are all unwanted things. You are able to do because at that time God has given the capability to do it. Otherwise, you would not have done it. He has given the grace to do it. See, that is where, in fact, today I am taken up a suktam. It's basically to have, because the entire family, it starts with the family, the nucleus of the family, where, between the parents, the husband and wife, between the son and the father, daughter and the mother, and as the case may be, and the brother and the sister, the father and mother, everything, because if you see the everyday, if you analyze carefully, you are all, because we are all, your best part of the time is taken away in these small relationship. I've been telling him he's not doing it. He has been telling me I couldn't do it. All sorts of things. So I have taken some Manasa Suktam this week. I will just, we will go for the Suktam. I purposely took it, because there won't be any sort of a claim or there is no any sort of glory or anything. We have all done our duty. That's all. Leave it at that. I could do that. I have done that. That's all. And this is, in fact, I could have done better if possible. That's all. I will do it, because whatever best I can. Once you do like this, there won't be any sort of a fracture in any of the relationship. But unfortunately, because it is being always projected, rephrased, and it is being propagated everywhere and all, that comes, of course, this is the normal way of the life. This is what, the mantra says, tam akrutu pashyati vitashokaha. Once you have that, you will not be bothering anything about, you have done whatever was coming the way, whatever capability that was available at that time, whatever resources you could do, finish it. That's all, end of it. Now you do whatever to do best. If I'm to do someone else, you do, let's do it. For something else, the great cause has come, let us do that. Or if not, at least, because we call some children and tell them, or some people want a guidance, we do it. If you are capable enough, because you advise people, how professionally they can go, because what is the alternative that is available, and try to know, what is happening in this entire, the field outside, because we are all outdated. We know a lot of changes have taken place. Even if you go to your college to get a college admission, it is not possible for me. I just don't know the procedure, because whatever is obtaining at the time, I just went there, I got it. Today it's not so. You will have to apply. So many things are there. We don't know the sort of the intrinsic details of it. We will have to understand that, and then you can guide that. Likewise, it is constantly updating yourself and doing whatever best you can. Don't claim any ownership of any of your action. And don't be having the glory of anything. I have done at that point of time, that's all. My father could do whatever he could do. See, Rockefeller was standing in a bus station in New York. When a man was going by a car, he said, you can afford 100 cars like what I am owning. Why are you standing in the bus stop? Look, I am a son of a poor father. I know how to travel by bus. But whereas your son is driving a Rolls Royce, yes, he is the son of a multi-billionaire. But I am a son of my poor father, and I know how I have to live. That's all. It is like that. You don't crib about, because I have heard that fellow is going in Rolls Royce. I am standing in a bus stop. That I am happy about it. I go with the public. I want to chat with the public. That's what I said. That is a life. The life is enjoying the journey, as we have said last week. This is what it is. And then finally it comes Dhatu Prasada Mahimanam Atmanaha. Dhatu Prasada is the grace of the God. The grace of the God is the biggest concept we have discussed every week. Why, because we will see how empirical level also last week we have discussed about it. In fact, if you happen to see the postings, you could have seen. Anyway, we will briefly cover that. Dhatu Prasada, there's a God's grace. Anything happens to us, and anything happens pleasant in our life, that is Dhatu Prasada. In spite of it, my being not so pleasant to others, something pleasant happens to me. Why it should be happening to me? Mahimanam Atmanaha. Mahimanam, in the sense there is one more word, that is Mahatmanam Atmanaha. When something happens, that is the mystical experience. Something good happens, we never give the importance of it. It is a mystical experience, but we don't consider that. It happening to everyone. It's not only happened to me, the other fellow also got it. You only simply say, as if you have got every divine right to get the things done. Not so. It happens because God's grace has to come. Despite the fact, you may be, see, in Supreme Court, you can see people argue for hours, the great lawyers putting that. In spite of it, finally, our courts are not courts of justice because they are court of law. They only interpret the law. They only interpret the law and give the justice. You will not be able to get what you want. In fact, I have shared long before, most of the time when you go to any sort of seek justice, maybe to the God or maybe to the court or maybe that, you just don't know what to seek for. You just don't know what to seek for. What is the relief you want? Simply that at that point of time, I want a house, I want my daughter to be married, my son to get a job, I want this, that and all. That is only at that point of time. Is it that, because he is willing to give you something much more than that? That is why even we don't know what to seek from the God. That's why in the courts also saying most of the time, the people who file the case don't know what relief they want to get. That is how, because most of the things, the judgment comes, because topsy-turvy, you don't know what has come and all. Even yesterday also when judgment has come, people don't know what is it effect and all. But the judgment has come because they can only interpret the law. They can't give justice because the laws are there within the framework and they will have to interpret. It is like this. Divine law is the other hand. It gives you the grace. It takes you at the right time to the right place and gets it happen. And when it happens, you are able to devote to your own, because the ability, you are able to develop your own ability and all do that. When something happens, you have worked for yourself and the grace of the God automatically comes to you. But it may come only at that point of time when you really need it. And you will not be able to, because you will have to accept that's fine. Very often, whenever, when something happens, it will be happening for your good, but may not be as per your expectation. That's why we quoted Avyar last week and the week before last. That is a normal. It will be, the rule is it may not happen because the nature has got its way of doing it. You think nature will not have to obey you. It has got its own way of doing the things. Nature is not only your effort. There are so many people are putting their effort. So depending upon that, it will happen. So what you have done best is it may happen. Once in a while it may happen also. So that is God's grace. When it happens that you have done the right thing. God has given the right, you have taken the right skill, you have developed your right skill, you have done it. So always, I did that, it has not happened, God is not kind to me. It may happen even day to day, your wife may be creeping, because the person who is coming and helping you, she is doing everything better in all other houses. But when she comes to your house, she is not doing it. This is normally they may say. It's not so, because that is how you are looking into. So that is why, because the aware words are the greatest words, that can be always remembered. When you do, you simply be doing the things. Most of the time, it may happen by chance. Otherwise, something else may happen. Leave it. Whatever comes, you accept that, because that's going to be a stepping stone for you to get the right thing. Till such time, we were not knowing that way was not available to you. That stepping stone was not available to us. That is what it has come. That is exactly what Dhatu Prasada. That is when God's grace comes. It is there. So the God grace, how He has brought it on into, because the spiritual journey and all. Spiritual journey is always, because spiritual journey and the religious, because there is a difference between. Without religion, spiritual journey can't take place, because the religion, the very meaning of the religion itself, connecting to your source. Whatever be the source, if you are a Christian, you have been told, because it's the Holy Father and the Jesus and the Holy Spirit, they are the one, because that is the source. For an Islam, if it is because it is the Almighty, the Allah, who is giving the everything, to you, and He is the one, who is taking care of you, that is the source. When Zoroastrian, if you have got Zendavesta, He is doing, it is like that. Jewish, it is like that. So one of the reasons, why Friedrich Nietzsche, because he wrote a book called "The God is Dead." It is a sort of one of the greatest philosophers of his time, because in Germany at the time, he was such a philosophical mind. At the age of 22, he has been made the full-time professor of a German university, which is unheard of before him. He wrote a book called God is Dead. In the sense, you are having a concept of God in your mind, and you are having, you are formulating your own ways of that. But then you are only defining your own ways, what you created. In the sense, when you are created by mind and you are defying, what happens? That means you are not giving any reverence to the God who have created in your mind. That's what is a God is dead. He provoked the entire, the people, who are talking about religion, the great concept of it. And I think it's one of the 19th century, 20th century classic, because, but it is being interpreted and talked in a way, because it's a very huge book. It needs a lot of patience to read. I have also not read, but I have heard from people who have read and what they have said about it. Such a great concept. Likewise, when you say, yes, I'm Shaivite, I'm Vaishnavite, I'm a follower of this, you created an image around that, you are following that. But what is the change you have brought in you? Forget about it. All these things are means. The philosophy is the means. When the three acharyas have given the great concept, it is a means for you to develop your own self. They can't spoon feed you and take you, and they can't, because it is for you to flourish. Because you got the capability. Your capabilities, or each one of our capabilities are different depending upon, because whatever the chetnas or vasanas we are carrying on. Because we are all destined for something. Are we able to get that? Because all of us may not be getting the same destination, because our destinies are different. But we will be able to fully realize what we are capable of in this birth, in this life. That is what exactly when you said Dhatu Prasada, that is what God's grace is. God's grace, when Advaita says, because it is Aham Brahmasmi and all those concepts, they say God's grace come from within. How it come from within? When you are able to do meditation, and they say, you empty your mind and all, when you don't have any vacillation, when you are able to have the calmness, peace personified, that is called the God's grace, they say. But it is people who have said that, but how many people have realized that? How many people can capable of getting it and all? The another way is to just hold on to whatever, is your sort of a God or Ishta Devata, or whatever, the religion, or whatever, you want to call it, as something which is, the work is worship. Do that. When you are able to do that, you just focus only on that. Because in fact, that is all ways are equally good ways. That's why, there is a book, which has come about, recently it has been published. It is becoming a rage in the infinite ways to the infinite path to the infinity. That is a book which has come about. It was written by one monk from Ramakrishna Mission. He has written, Medananda, Swamiji has written. It is like that, because all these things are giving a means for you to glorify yourself and get the best out of you, what you are destined for. And not only that, when you are working on that, every moment will be a happiness, every moment will be a bliss. The happiness is given, it is not to be taken. How am I to be happy? You don't have to ask for. I am happy. But I don't have to be, no one has to give it to me, because sui generis, it is coming into me automatically. Like you are giving a thirst, Krishna Vichetavad. When you are getting a thirst, what you do immediately, you take the water. How the thirst comes? Because there is a pang of thirst in your body. The body creates, and then you are able to get. When you are taking a food, if you are able to take the food when you are hungry, because then naturally you will be able to take it and digest it, enjoy it. But when you are not hungry, when you are taking it, the problem is like that, because we have been taught like that. Earlier, we never used to do it. Only when we are hungry, we used to take the food. Because the modern methods and the Western way, they have brought us in a breakfast, lunch, and other things. Whether you need it or not, you take it at the time. Whether you feel hungry or not, you are sort of overstressing the system. Your digestion, gets into a 6. It can't match with what you are trying to put it in. But if you determine that I will only take food when I am feeling hungry, irrespective of the pressures and pulls around your family or anything like that, you will be able to see you are 100% perfect. Your gut will be fantastic. If your gut is fantastic, you will not have any disease whatsoever. Your health is being determined by the wellness of your gut. So this is exactly, because that's why, we have made our own today, this vratam is there, tomorrow this puja is there. You take, accordingly, you maintain your food habits also. But that you keep your habits, intact. But then you do all other things because you have to do, so many people have said and other things. So naturally, we are doing it and we are not applying ourselves. It is not only the application, the spiritual pursuit or professional pursuit, in your habits also. When you are able to bring in the habits to yourself, because I will be taking water, because at least in some point of time I have to take enough water and that, because now everyone says you take water, but we take only when it is someone says and all, because once you naturally gets thirsty, you are taking it, your body will get into the God given water, that you don't have to worry about anything and all. It is that, whether your mineral water or some water, filtered water, you take that. Likewise, once you bring in the habit to yourself, that is God's grace will automatically come. Once you form your habits, when you are able to do it, and once you don't bother about what has happened and what you are going to do in your relationship, what is that, you have done something extra, the other person, everyone has done their duty. Don't worry about anything. You just, and you will not be able to change anyone's mindset. Don't be a reformer. Now I will try to advise him, and because the world is consisting of two people. Advising, knowing pretty well their advice will not be followed. The other one listening very, very carefully, knowing that they are not going to follow the advice. So these two type of people will continue to be there, and we will be acting. This action will go on. But the world will go on, and we will be coming into the confounded relationship and problems. This is what this mantra said. And then next mantra, it took us to another dimension. Sitting in one place, he will be everywhere. Not only that, he in the sense, it is not only the Brahman, it is also the soul. The soul is also, because when you are sitting here, the soul also, you are sitting here, we are discussing, but your mind will be somewhere. I think Kesavan is in Rameshwaram, but he will be thinking about what is happening in Triplicane. Today there will be a Goshti. I am missing. Likewise, all of us. I am also thinking like that. Because my daughter has gone to Chennai. What they are doing, this and that. All these things. Your mind will go to US, UK, everywhere and all. That is what mantra 1.2.21 last week we covered said. Asino Duram Vrajati, Shayano Yati Sarvataha. Asinam Duram Vrajati, because you may be in the sitting in the same place. Brahman is like that. He may be in same place, but he will be everywhere. It has been beautifully described by Krishnananda, the great saint, who is from Shivananda, because of the lineage. He said, very clear, because he has got the center everywhere, but he doesn't have circumference nowhere. Center is everywhere. Circumference is endless. It's infinite. You will not be able to measure the infinite. Like the man who saw infinite, like Ramanujam, he brought a lot of conjectures in the form of the theorems. But people are trying to prove it. For him, it came just like that. That is where God's grace. How Ramanujam got it. He said, because it's not that I have not got it. I have repeated earlier also. See, I have not just got it. In my dream, she is the goddess who came, Namagiri, she came and gave me the. He just wrote all those conjectures, whatever he wrote, because at that point of time, people couldn't, because now they are trying to work. In Chicago, there is a separate, the sort of the department in 2 or 3 universities to work on that, and I think 5 to 6 professors, because on one more Nobel laureate, they are working on that to see, how these conjectures, how he has brought that, because it is very difficult to bring by sort of or through your mechanism of mathematics, by all the methods of mathematics is very difficult. It has come to him just like that. That is the grace. How that grace came? Why only to Ramanujam it should come? Why want to me and all? It is that dedication. It is not only that his vasanas, chetnas, what he must have been a mathematician centuries, several births earlier. He must have worked hard and he must have had all these insights into him. But within 30 to 33 years, he brought so many things, onto the world map of the entire thing, into the mathematical, the history. It is something, which people are still working after several years after his birth, and they say, it will take another 50 to 60 years, to work out a lot of conjectures and bring it into the. And some of them are being applied in all other applications, like space, everything and all. Likewise, that is the God's grace. The power of the God's grace, we are not realizing, it is so great a power, because that we could have, because realized in our real life itself. I will just share one small instance. It happened this week. See, on May 9th, this week, just about, we are on 12th, just 3 days earlier, May 9th, was, I think we may know all Mother's Day, Father's Day, Brother's Day, and Sister's Day, Friend's Day, this day, Donkey's Day, Horse's Day, all day we know that. But there was one day called Shadowless Day. May 9th was a Shadowless Day. It was a wonderful phenomena of the entire what the cosmos has given to us. We couldn't realize that, and nor there was any wide-scale publicity in the newspapers and media, because we are all with all this rubbish, which is coming about. But this is not even coming as a byline in the newspapers. But 1 or 2 of them, they have picked up and give a small thing. But it is a wonderful phenomenon. What is the shadowless day? Shadowless day is because whenever you walk, your shadow follows wherever you go. In the morning you walk, because when the sun is at the east, the shadow will be on the other side, and towards the midday, it will be around you, and towards the evening, it will be on the other side. It is on the west. That is what we do. On the shadowless day, the right below your feet, the shadow falls. You will not be able to see the any friend. It is a wonderful phenomenon. How many of us have bothered to see the note, or how many of us have been told? It happened on May 9th, 12:12 p.m. to 12:14 p.m. It happened. It was a wonderful phenomenon. It takes place only 2 times in a day, 2 times in a year, when the sun is at the zenith. Zenith is the highest point, from where he is just at that point exactly, in consonance with the latitude of this place. On May 9th, the sun was at the zenith in consonance with the latitude of Hyderabad. Hyderabad's latitude is 17.5850 degree north. It was exactly, this is a phenomenon, because all of us should be wondering, how you will not be able to see the shadow, and the children, because luckily I think, the Birla Planetarium in Hyderabad, they had given the local pamphlets and other things, a lot of children and elders, some scientific community, they were assembled there, they were wonderstruck to see this phenomenon. It's not the mystery. You are seeing all unwanted things and talking about unwanted things in the sense when you are not able to see, because this is enough to sort of determine there is a power above all of us. And when it happens, how it happens? It's only twice in a year. It happens between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Nowhere else. India happened to be in the very fortunate position of the Tropic of Cancer passes through India. If any one of you have happened to travel beyond Ahmedabad, because I had the occasion to travel so many times between Udaipur and Ahmedabad when I was there and all. Just before Ahmedabad, when you are coming from Udaipur or when you are getting into the Rajasthan, there will be a very big board telling the Tropic of Cancer passes through this place. The Tropic of Cancer passes through that place, and Tropic of Capricorn also just at the end, it passes through. Between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, in the latitude, because the Hyderabad happened to be the light, it would have happened in other places also. When the zenith is sun is at the zenith, it could have happened in Mumbai, it could have happened in Calcutta and all. People, whether they have conscious enough to notice. And you are, because for the wonderful phenomena is you are not able to see your shadow. The same thing has been applied, because the same Brigadishwara temple, which has been built in Tanjavur. When the entire, because the one stone has been only one stone, the tower of the Brigadishwara temple was made of only one stone, and the shadow never falls outside. It is only on to that at every point of the day, every point of the year, 24/7. Is it not a wonder? So these are all the mystical experience right in front of us. It is happening. And it will also happen, sometimes like, Dhatu Prasada, because when you are able to get something, when you think, when people say when they come from exam, I've just written it and I don't know, but suddenly, he comes glorious and he comes out, first and he gets all other things and all. How it happens? You might have done, but you don't know, but it's a God's, because when you are able to give the right thing at that moment, even the 5 questions are there, you are able to give, the 5 right answers. Potentially right, and not only that, it is without any sort of a without any deficiency you are able to give. That's why excellence has been given a very whatever you are able to do, you are to full potential without any attendant impish inferiority. When you are able to do that is the, likewise whatever you do, when it happens, you get the result, and that happens by virtue of the God's grace. Whether it is with him or without, maybe you will have a different philosophy, because there is a proverb in Hindi. Something happens to a person, because we think, he doesn't deserve it happen to him. Because we are nobody to think. When it happens, a person is deserving. Otherwise, it would not have happened to him. How come, this fellow, he is useless, he got this. We estimate. That is, we are estimating ourselves, not the other person. So, the Hindi, there is a proverb. Khuda meherban to gada pailwan. If God is great, even the donkey will become a pailwan. Something like that they say. It's not that, because it is just the human way of, judging someone and so on. That is why you should never be judgmental. You should never be comparing to others. Everything happens to him, every person as per he deserves at that point of time. You may think, whether he deserves. You are nobody to think. Okay, it has happened to him because he deserves. But he has to prove, to live in his way, to feel that he is deserving to get that. That is what the human effort, all of us is. We all have to live to prove that we are deserving whatever we have got so far. That is the life. Not that to get something more. Now we will have to prove, whatever we have got is we are deserving. God has given the right thing to write us, and we will try to work like this within the framework of the code of conduct and dharma. This is exactly the Upanishad. Asino duram rajati shayano yati sarvataha kastam madamatam. Kastam madamatam, in the sense, madamatam is sometimes you are happy. Mada, one mada is happy. Madam means sometimes you are not unhappy. Amadam. Mada amadam. That's what. Mada amadam is happiness and sorrow. All two opposites. And because your likes, dislikes. Everything has got a paradox. Everything that has happened. So when you have all those things, how it happens? The reason is always in you only, in your vasanas only. It happens because you have to get the experience. So that's why last week I also quoted, the invocation mantra we talk about. Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyati Prataya Jnana Prataya Vibudasura Saukya Dukkha Satkaranaya. Saukya, that is happiness, dukkha, which is not happiness, because of our mindset. Dukkha Saukha Satkaranaya. It is a true Satkaranaya. He is the one who gives it because for me to elevate. So when something happens, why it God happened, God is doing to me, how it is that at all. It is happening because you will have to elevate yourself. You become more deserving. It is not that you are deserving, it is happening to you. So if no one walks, because I need Gadi, Bangla, car and all, because that will always, you can think of that. But do I deserve? If I get it, what am I going to do? If I'm using the vehicle, too far, to spread around a lot of things, to bring about institutions, that is purpose for me. And if your space is there and I'm able to use that space effectively, I'm able to serve so many people, I have to create an institution, that's good. And all other things likewise, it all happens. It is a modern world, it all comes like that. So in all the relationship, the problem what happens is, you are not able to manage one relationship, because then you immediately try to feel, your depression starts, and how am I that to them? But you should not have to be worried about. We will have to go above that. That's what, the custom, Madamadam, instance, it all happens because of our own experience only. Tam Madamadam, Devam Atanyo, because even that happens by God's grace. Why an experience that comes where you feel your sorrow is because you are supposed to be getting the strength to face the thing next time. In fact, you will be it all preparing you to get the best. The preparation for you to get the best. See, unless you get all these things, you are supposed to be getting the best only after going through the entire, the grind. You will not be able to get just like that in a flash. It's not a magician wand, that you can give whatever you want. If then when, because that's what, the Kannadasan நினைத்ததெல்லாம் நடந்து விட்டால் தெய்வம் ஏதும் இல்லை, he said. நடந்ததையே நினைத்து விட்டால் அமைதி என்றும் இல்லை. If you go on thinking, what has happened, there is no peace. But if whatever you think happens, there is no God. So either way, because that is how, everything is a preparation. Every day God is preparing you to get the best. He's giving you the grace. Once you then you will be accepting whatever comes. You will not be cribbing about it, because you will be trying to find a way how to get the thing out of the, you find a better way to do the things, how to go better and best, get the best, in times to come. Then when you work on, you will totally be focused on that. You will not be having, all other weaning away from your course. This is what Adanyo, Kastam Madamadam Devam Atanyo Nyatum Arhati. Once you are able to get, this is what, God has given you, I am able to get. Nyatum Arhati, in the sense you become eligible. You become, Arhati in the sense you become Arugade in Tamil thing. You become eligible to get the God's grace. Nyatum Arhati. Once you are able to face everything together, with this submission, look, I'm always elect, this is a lesson for me, I have to learn, I will have to improve, but God will give me enough strength, I will have to go, then you become eligible. You prepare yourself, your qualification goes up to get the God's grace. So this is one even own elevation. This is what happens. Upanishad is upari, you are every time you are going a ladder high, but there is no end to it. Till such time, because you go on finding it, even so many bus comes, the life is to elevate yourself every day, every moment. That is the bliss. That is what we said, because the Yate Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatrapato, Danudaraha, Tatrasri, Vijayo Bhutil, Druvanitir, Matilmama, in the sense, once they are there, you will not be bothered about anything. You will be focusing on doing the things best, getting the excellence out of every moment of it, and getting the happiness which is inbuilt. You will not have any taint of sorrow, you will always be, you don't have to seek for happiness when it is there. This is, see, this is what, one example they said, because very often, I think it used to happen earlier, and we started wearing the specs. Initially, we were not used to wearing the specs long before, 25 years before. We used to keep the specs, very much polished and keep it in the, all that, the container and all. Afterwards, we got used to it because you have to run in here and there. But you will be searching for the specs, wearing and keeping it on your head itself. It is like that. Happiness is very much within you, but you don't know, and you are still searching for it. So you don't have to search for, you become eligible for it. To become eligible only, you will have to go for that. So that is what it has been said that. So when once you have become eligible, once you are getting it, the seeking happiness specifically that becomes a sort of a taking away your attention. When you are seeking happiness, you will find what are all the ways. Whether I should go by astrology, whether I should go by phenomenology, whether I should go by some gurus, this and that. When you are trying to find all those things and all, you forget your own way where you are able to get the best which has already been given to you. So once you have it, you will not have any problem. This is what is said. So next mantra, I will just start that. Before that, I will just, this mantra what we have talked about, it is similar to the mantra we have already seen in Isavasha Upanishad, one of the Upanishad we very first covered and all. In that Taddure Tadvantike, Tadantarasya Sarvasya Bhahyataha. We are away from ourselves. When we have to focus on mindfulness is to be there, our attention gets distracted. But whereas he is here and he is everywhere to guide, the primordial power to guide, he is there. But as a soul, my attention is getting diverted. I am here, but my mind is going everywhere. Taddure Tadvantike. But it's also nearby. But when it is nearby, it is not focusing on the job which I have to do. It is focusing on job which I have missed to do or which I am to do. So it is taking away my energy from there and on. So this is what we have seen. Likewise, this mantra has also said it is basically bringing the mindfulness as well as elevating yourself every moment of it. The mystical experience is not something, when it happens to you, it may happen around the world as we have seen in the World Shadowless Day which happened on May 9th. Likewise, so many things are happening. These are all, one which has to give us a sort of a elevation. It has to sort of give some inspiration for us to elevate, because these are all the things that is happening. When it happening, because you are not able to see the shadow, that itself is a mystery. So far, I have never seen without my shadow. There is a day when it is happening, something like that. So these are all the mysteries that comes about. When you are able to feel the mystic experience to yourself, that is where your spirituality, you will not have too many doubts to ask for, not too many questions to ask for. Okay, when you talk about religion and spirituality, youngsters ask a lot of questions. They are right to ask because they have not been told, and they feel, and it is not a sort of a McDonald's. It is not a fast food serving, because you will have to give yourself, you will have to submit yourself. When you are able to submit yourself to any process, be it meditation or something else, and all, that is God's grace. The day you come into contact with such a person who is taking you away from that and putting you into that, that is God's grace. That's what is happening. The next mantra I will just recite and leave it at that, because the next week we will take it. Only I will just read because it's a mantra with a paradox. We'll just read it. Ashariram Sarireshu. Asariram Sharireshu. Sarira is the body. Ashariram is the without body, disembodied. Sharira is the body. Shriyate iti sharira. The body is whatever you call sharira will decay. It will change, because when we were a youngster, we were a child, we have grown up, we have got wrinkles, we have become bald head, and finally we will vanish from the earth. Because sharira, shriyate iti shariram. Asharira is always permanent. It's going to be there. Asharirim sarireshu. Sarireshu, that asarireshu, this disembodied thing, what you call, is inside the sarira. That is the paradox. Anavastyeshu avastitam. Anavastyeshu avastitam. Avasti in the sense residing in this place. Avastha is also a state of being. Because we always have three states of being. Because we are in the waking stage now we are discussing, which is called Jagrata Sthana. And without sleeping, we are into dreaming. It could be daydreaming also. That is called Swapna Sthana. And deep sleep, when you are not away, you are away from everything. You are unaware and you are closer to the Almighty, the primordial power. That is Sushupta Sthana. This is called Avastha Traya. The Avastha is being here in whatever state. Avastha Trayam we call it, because in the scriptural parlance, all the three states are Avastha Trayam. Once you are able to understand the Avastha Trayam, you understood yourself, you understood the entire world, you understood the God. That's why Mandukya Upanishad we covered, our third Upanishad we covered in our journey. It talked only about these three stages. And all the three stages which covers, it is the Pranava Om. Vu, Ma, Nada. When we said A is the one which is covering the Jagratasthana, Vu is the one which is covering the Swapnasthana, Ma is the one which is covering the Sushuptasthana, Nada is the final. When you transcend the body, mind, and intellect, that is called Turiya, the highest stage, when you don't have any desires, you almost reach the Mukti, because Mukti is your divine right at that point of time. That is called, that is what Mandukya Upanishad says. When all the three, because our everyday life is taken by Om, and each syllable explains, what we are every day and all. That is our autobiography. Whether you write your own autobiography or not, because every person's in the world, all this 7.5 or 8 billion creatures in the, or even other creatures in the world, this is the final autobiography of it. When you are able to do, this is what anavastyeshu avastita. Whatever being in the, because anavastyeshu, the one who is residing, which is not impermanent, which is, these are all permanent, sharira, which goes off. All this sushupta sthana will go off. Waking stage will go off, once you go to the sleep. Once you get into a deep sleep, again that will go off, you will come into the cycle again, waking stage next day. Then new problems, new day, new challenges, or new happiness, everything and all. But it's all happiness, but you don't have to seek, it is very much there. So that comes, this is what Mahantam, Vibhumatmanam, Matvadiro Nasochati. Because once you know all these things, Mahantam, these are all the ones, once you say the disembodied is inside the body, and who is not in the being, whatever beings we consider ourselves, impermanent beings, the permanent being is there. Once you are able to understand, Vibhumatman, Vibhu is a very great word, in the Sanskrit. Prabhu is the one who is capable of everything. Prabhu, Prakrishta Prabhu, Vibhu. And Vibhu is the Vishesha, he has got the Vishesha power. It's a marvel, the marvel of the world. I will cover the entire Marvel, because there is a comic which is coming in the name of Marvel. I don't know whether you've seen it and all, because a lot of Walt Disney movies are coming. Children are watching all these Marvel only in your YouTube as well as in your TV. There are a lot of characters created, because they are created like mostly they can appear to taken from Indian philosophy. There is one character that comes in Marvel. I think, maybe I think your grandchildren, you can share the name. Beyonder. Beyonder is the name. Beyonder is the ones we think the entire world is created, entire world is replaced. That is Brahman. We call it Brahman. The Marvel comic, it is called Beyonder. If you tell to the youngsters, children who are watching the comic, they will understand Beyonder. Likewise, it is there. It is a marvel. When it happens, he is not, you are being, but because he is there, because in the impermanent things, the permanent thing is there. In the impermanent body, the disembodied, he is there. Once you are able to understand, Vibhumatmanam Matva Dhirona Suchati, once you are able to do, you are not going to think about anything at all. It has got an equivalent sloka in Bhagavad Gita also. We will cover that next week. This is a wonderful, but of course, little philosophical concept. We will try to sweeten it as much as with real life examples. I will try to conclude today's journey, and then we will be going to the Sanmanasa Upanishad. Suktam. It is to how to have, the relationship between the father and son, the brother and sister, wife and husband, how to have sort of a harmony of, the thoughts. That is not impossible, because there is a proverb, if there are two Indians, there will be three political parties. Each one will start one on their own, and they will combine together to have one if someone comes. So likewise, all the three parties will be vying for each other. So with this, how to achieve the Sanmanasa Suktam, we will go for that immediately after that. Just we will enjoy that. Thank you. Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahaihi, Tejasvina Vadidamastuma Vishvidavahaihi, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Immediately we go to the meditation.